Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is Dan Schwartz here with the 80/20 Investor Academy. On this video, we're going to talk about when to hire your acquisitions manager, whether your first one or your next one. It's going to help you kind of understand when the right time to bring on that sales role, the person that's going to be getting deals under contract is going to be. And if you are actively scaling up your business right now, wrapping your head around hiring a salesperson is one of the most highest leverage things that you can do, and I hope this video will do that. What you're going to watch is an excerpt from one of our 80/20 Academy intensives that we did back in June, where we talked about the AM Blueprint. The AM Blueprint shows you step-by-step how to hire and recruit and train an acquisitions manager. This is just the first part of that training. If you like this, then make sure to like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. I'll be publishing a lot more of these types of videos, and I hope that you'll enjoy this quick segment about how and when you should hire an acquisitions manager. Hopefully this resonates with you. Make a comment if you have any questions, and enjoy. Here's what you need to do before you hire an acquisitions manager. Step one, obviously you need to commit, which you guys are doing in the chat right now. Appreciate that. Type AM. Look at all these AMs. Amazing. You're committing that you'll make this work no matter the cost, and it's time to let go. Look, it's going to be difficult, right? It's not going to be it's not going to be the easiest thing you've ever done. But asymmetric things are always difficult, right? And it's probably the reason why you haven't done it yet, right? Because you're scared of the challenge. How we eliminate that is and shorten the learning curve is by building out a process for you to do it step by step. So you all will be able to shortcut the learning curve and ideally not make the same mistakes that a lot of people have done trying to figure it out themselves. Step two, is it the right time to hire an acquisitions manager? So it could be argued that you can hire ahead of the curve right now, no matter where you're at. Just bring them on commission only, no harm, no foul. But ideally, you've got some money in the bank, 2 to 3 months of business operating expenses. Okay, so if you're spending $5K a month on marketing, just have $10K in the bank, right? That means that you've done a deal or two.
Can I just chime in something on here? Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, for sure.
I would just say when you look at the 2 to 3 months of business operating expense, also calculate for if you're adding in a base for acquisitions, if you have 2 to 3 months of base pay in there for that new role as well.
Yep. Yeah, and we'll talk about compensation too at the end. That's a good point. So money and then time. I would dedicate, 3 to 4 hours a week that you can kind of set aside for the purposes of just hanging out with your AM and training them, right? Reviewing their calls, having them shadow you, because that is going to take time, right? And if you still feel like you don't have enough time and you have an iPhone, there's a little app here called Screen Time that you can open up. Open up that app and it will tell you where all these little places are that you can find some time. And I promise you it exists, right? So that would be ideal. Even if you have less time than that, I feel like you can make it work. Can you guys speak to that? Like how time intensive is it to train an acquisitions manager?
Probably, for us,
yeah.
As long as you got them studying and everything, I always give them a couple hours a day at minimum, 2 to 3. That's my biggest push when somebody comes in. Doesn't matter what I have on my calendar, is that person.
Yeah.
Number one.
A lot up front, Elisa said.
It's the most important part of your business is people. So give them the most time.
Yep. And if you're in the academy, you can do the Freedom Focuser. It's going to help free up a bunch of time as well so that you can do that. It's worth it. Third thing is you got to have, what are you going to say?
I was just going to say, it speaks also to the quality of the hire, of how much time you have to put into somebody. Somebody that's a really true A player, if you hire really well, yes, it's always going to take a certain amount of your time. But I always really look for the people that you can get started on something and they can just really expand upon it, right? And so, but I've also hired C players where you really have to be holding their hand for hours upon hours upon hours to make sure that training happens. So anyways, that's just
Yeah,
a little caveat.
Brandon, I know your thing is like, it's so much easier if they're really good on the phone. We'll talk about the traits to look for right after this. But yes, that is a huge thing that will save you a lot of time. Just working with, it's easier to take a 7 on a skill level to an 8 than it is a 2 on a skill level to a 5,
Right.
So much less time. Okay. Pipeline. It's recommended, by the book to have at least 5 leads per day per acquisitions rep, just to support that role. And if you don't have that, you at least have a plan to generate that quickly, which we talked about right before. There's a whole list of things that you can do today to get 5 leads in the pipeline. Supporting insights on that, guys? I think it's enough to kind of get someone going.
I think that's a good number. We run mainly PPC, but I like that.
Yeah, because I mean, even then, they'll still have enough leads to follow up with too. I think so many people think that you're going to contract them on the first call, and that's just a reality situation that you're not. So like, you're still going to be following up with like a majority of those leads as well.
Exactly. And then the last thing is just not hiring them into a chaotic environment and having what Todd Toback calls a skeleton system. Skeleton system isn't like a formal binder printed out that's laminated with like a table of contents and like a header and playbooks and like a skeleton system is just like a basic script, like a CRM that you can store stuff in, and like access to some basic like sales training, or at least a list of YouTube videos they can watch. Just a skeleton system. You don't need to have like it fully automated and systemized before you hire a salesperson. So you can just get that out of your head. They will help you build the process out. It's going to be a living and breathing system that will expand and get, cleaner looking over time.